Hi there. So, welcome to the third part of the adding a full change, I guess, to the outreach server. So the last part is adding the Angular front end code. So right about now, I worked on adding the service that will actually go and get the data from the server. So I created this service called Idea Workshop, and all it is it's actually, here we go, call it Idea Workshop Service, right? And it extends this object that we created internally called Outreach Service. Most services that we have do this, and you just have to specify the type. So it's a type Idea Workshop, and that's the POJO, right? The plain old object. So if you go into the models, you'll see that I created something called Idea Workshop, which essentially just has the types for that Idea Workshop, right? Um, and so all we want to do is we just want to tell the service, well, where do we go and get that data? So all you need to do is you need to pass in the HTTP service object, which will make a get, put, delete, or post request. Um, so here, you just pass that in. It's known as an injectable service, so you don't have to instantiate it like in, compared to Java code. Here in Angular, an injectable service is instantiated for you. I also pass in the URL, which is where to go and make the web request. So whenever you add a service, you just have to extend the URLs object here. So you see here the URLs object, and I added mine right here, which you would have seen from the previous video. That's the URL we want to go hit. At that point, we just specify the name of the object. And then here, we just specify a getHandler object, which just tells the service where the data is, and that's inside of the response, the body, go and get the data. At that point, we have to create a test for this, and the test is just simply making sure that the data works. So we just plop some mock data here. Actually, this data came from the server, so I just use that in this scenario. I then write two tests. The first test is to make sure that the service actually starts up, known as to be truthy, and the other test is just making sure that the data is correct. So I have an array that should have 14 items in it, and I just assume that the first one, the ID is equal to 1, the second one is equal to 29, and so on and so forth, which you can see from the beginning of the data. Right, the first entry is 1, 29, and 5 census, right? So what we do here is we have to create a spec file. And if you use the Angular CLI tools, you can actually get it to generate the spec file for you. Now, I won't add the mock data and stuff like that, but at least it'll generate it for you. That's just known as ng generate service, and then the name of your service, which I called mine, Idea Workshops. At that point, all you need to do is import these two modules here and get your mock data. And at that point, just write some code that looks like this, which essentially just says, hey, I know that you're not going to be able to do the actual web request because the server is not actually up. So what we do is we spy on. So we spy on the HTTP object, the GET request, and we say you're going to return a response. The response is the object above. So we capture that, and then we just assume that it will look like this. And if it does, it means the data got converted correctly. All of our services are inside of a folder called services. All of our models are inside of a folder called models, right? And then we also have directives, components, whatnot. And these are reusable across our ng forms and ng apps repos. Once that's done, we just have to export this so that our other projects know where to go look. So here we export it like this, export lib services idea workshops.service, and we export the model. Lastly, we can't forget to add that to our module, which is right here. We just add the idea workshop service, and then we add it to the providers. That way we don't have to import in the rest of our code. How do you test all this? Well, all I need to do is type in the following command. Right? Just type in npm run test, and you'll see it'll actually start the the testing framework inside of Angular known as Karma. Once that starts, you'll see that it'll actually create a browser for you. And that browser will automatically start testing the code for you. It's kind of an all-in-one tool, really. There it goes. You'll see on my laptop, it started the browser. It's loading. It's still compiling on my CLI tool here. But once it kicks off, you'll see all the automated tests start. There we go, connected, and it'll start running its unit tests. Off it goes. Once it's done, you should have all green dots. Every green dot represents a successful test. You see this on your command prompt. All right. Lastly, you'll commit your code with source tree. And then inside of GitHub, you'll then be able to create a pull request. I'm just going to type in the purpose. Adding the idea workshop service to the repository. Right. Not really any screenshots required here. All tests should pass. Right, and lastly, added the modules, added the service to the modules, and exports. Here I'm going to write something interesting. Closes, right? I'm going to go to my Waffle board. Waffle is our project management tool. We'll go in here. See here all of our tickets. Currently on page 2. I'm working on the Outreach Vagrant 306 ticket. So I'm just going to say closes AES-outreach/vagrant 306. What we'll see here, I'll click create pull request. If you look at the board, and you'll see it automatically got moved over for me. Now I know that it's in review, and all of these other sections down here are other repos that had to be committed to in order to finish this ticket. And so you'll see here all of these. Once they all go green, that means Travis approved them all. Once Travis approved them all, we can now close this ticket and mark it as done. Cool? Now, the person who's reviewing this ticket is going to be Alex, and once Alex reviews it, that's it. We're done. The code will automatically be merged to develop, and we can continue working on implementation. That's it. I hope this was useful, and stay tuned for any new videos. All right, take care. Bye-bye.